Hi, this is JP Morgan. Today on the Slanted Lens, we are out here at Pinnacles. This is a great national park if you want to see condors. And I do. California condors were almost extinct, and I have to tell you, it was a true honor to be able to photograph them. I have thought about them, read about them since I was a teenager. It was just very exciting to be able to see them in the wild and be able to photograph them. I have followed condors ever since I was a little kid, and at the time that it hit only 25 condors, and I thought, oh my word, we have to save the condors. Now they're up to about 350. They're all tagged, not all of them, but most of them are tagged. They have radio receivers. I've just always been fascinated. I really wanted to see them in the wild and to photograph them in the wild, and so I called Sony and I said, hey, send me an A1 and send me a 200 to 600 millimeter lens at 5.663. And I'm going to thunder off the mountain and I'm going to try to photograph condors. So then we called Forrest Galante. He's a guy who has a show over on the Animal Planet. We photographed him for SKB cases, and he said, hey, you got to go to Pinnacles. And so we headed to Pinnacles. He kind of told us where to go, and we've been up there now 4 times. I've been up to the top, 3 times I've been up to the top photographing the condors. And I'm just going to talk about kind of the journey, some of the things we did, what I packed in my pack, and just some of the things that happened along the way. So let's get through some of those things right now. I brought an SKB pack, and you know, the SKB backpack is not a backpacking backpack. It's a camera bag, and it's really meant more for urban or short trips, day trips, that kind of thing. But this is a pretty long hike. It's 2.5 or 3 miles to the top, and I carried too much stuff. I had a ton of camera stuff in my bag, made it pretty difficult. But let's take a look at exactly what was in my bag here. The very first thing is I carry in this French pouch for quick access only the essentials, and that is toilet paper and a Ziploc bag in case I need to do something in the woods and I don't want to leave it behind. I also have some wipes in here, and that's kind of that. I like to have that on the front so I can get to it really quickly. I do have a bungee cord here. This bungee cord goes around my big down jacket. I always carry my down jacket, even in the summertime. Well, not in the summertime, but just about any time I think it might get cold at night. Or when I'm hiking and I get really wet, I sweat, my back gets wet. The minute I stop, I throw that down jacket on. It cuts the wind, keeps me from getting cold. Then I have my Photo Pro tripod. I love this Go Max tripod. It's very lightweight. I carry that with me. And then over here, I have a bottle of water and a little, it's an old Tamarack lens pouch. I have some snacks in my lens pouch. Okay, I carry my stocking hat. I carry my 2 sets of gloves, or my set of gloves. I carry my Horizon camera so I can get a black and white film shot. I love having my Horizon camera with me. I carry cards, extra cards. It says C200, but it's not. I shot 1, 2, 3 cards up there today. I carry a headlamp, so when it gets dark, I have a way to get out. I then have extra batteries, my Sony batteries. I have a lens here. I've got the 600 to 200 millimeter, the A1, and I also carry the 28 to 75. This is the G2 Tamron, and the reason I carry this is because I can just do kind of landscape kinds of things with that lens, whereas with the 200 to 600, I'm really doing long, kind of really telephoto stuff. So then, on top of that, I've got a light meter for my Horizon camera. I've got a strap if I want to put a camera around my neck. And then I have my landscape filters. I've got my polarizer here, the Nisi polarizer. I've got my 2 grads, the soft grad, the 3-stop, and I got the reverse grad. Then I've got a filter holder. Then of course I've got the rings in here to be able to put those onto both these lenses, so I can get it on both these lenses. I also have a small pig in here, and I'm not sure why there's a pig in here. But this, I'll tell you why, because this pack felt like a big pig carrying it up the mountain. That's why. It weighed so much. And the straps, it was killing me. That's one thing I learned. I would not do this again without a backpack with a good waist belt. It really, I'd like a camera backpack like this, but I want a good waist belt so that I can have that, take that weight off my shoulders, get it onto my hips. When I backpack, that's always the case. So I knew better, but I didn't do it. Introducing the new Plaidpod Extreme. It's a redesigned version giving you a lighter, more versatile tool. The Plaidpod Extreme is perfect for getting your camera in those really tight, hard to reach spaces. And it's lighter too. The Plaidpod Extreme can be strapped or screwed into many different places, giving you very unique camera angles and allow you to hold that camera in obscured and hard to reach places. It also has cutouts so you can slip it on the belt or slip it off. Makes it easy to attach. these great new hinged spikes make it so you can put them forward or backwards, anywhere you need them to give you a stable shot on really uneven terrain. And also, it gives you that really super low angle. Pretty awesome. The large cutout at the top of the plate makes it easy to carry with you, and the Extreme has multiple places to attach your carabiner, so you can carry it with you anywhere you go by attaching it to your bag or backpack. So go to plaidpod.com and check out the Kickstarter campaign. Be one of the first to get your Plaidpod Extreme. So camera settings. Camera settings are a struggle when you're in this kind of situation. I started out the first night trying to do a aperture priority. I played with that a little bit, just didn't work. So I went to manual with auto ISO. It was the perfect setup for this. So I went to 1/3200th of a second with the shutter, so I can freeze the action because the birds are flying around. And then I opened up the aperture all the way, so it's 6.3 most of the time because I'm on 600 millimeters. But when it got late in the day, and we shot a lot of them later in the afternoon, and the first 2 days were pretty cloudy, that was a struggle because now I'm getting up into these long ISOs. So I started shortening the shutter, getting it down to like, 125th or 250th of a second if they're sitting. But then if I try to go to 1,000th or 2,000th of a second if they're flying, can't freeze them. You just can't freeze them. You got to get up higher into 4,000th of a second or 3,200th of a second. Just some fun facts about condors. They were down to like 25 birds at one point in the United States, well, in the world. But with some diligent people working hard to bring them into captivity, to breed them there, and to reintroduce them into the wild, they're now up to almost 350. So it's a great day for them to be able to grow and to once again establish themselves. They fly huge distances. From Pinnacles, they fly all the way over to the ocean to eat dead animals that wash up on the beach. So that's pretty amazing. That's like a few flaps of their wings and they're at the ocean. I think it's like a 2-hour drive. Anyway, it's pretty amazing the area they cover. Huge wingspans, almost 7 feet. They just soar. They need those thermals to come up and to pick them up and let them soar. They're pretty amazing to watch. So let me introduce you to some condors by number. Meet Condor number 700. It's a green tag with just a 0 on it, but that's the green tag series of 700, and he is 700, so he's 0. He's part of the Pinnacles flocks. He was hatched at the World Center for Birds of Prey in Boise, Idaho on May 3rd, 2013. He attempted 2 nests with Condors 678, but unfortunately both failed for unknown reasons, and number 678 passed away in 2020. He's currently paired with number 726, and he has 7 biological siblings. His parents are number 61 and number 70. So there's a little history on 700. So let's meet 700's companion. It's 726. Her name is Little Stinker. She's part of the Big Sur flock. She was hatched at the San Diego Wild Animal Park on March 18, 2014. She's named after an aerobatic airplane from the 1920s because she's pretty aerobatic. They say when she was in captivity, she would do all kinds of crazy aerobatics in the cage, including sometimes smacking into the wall and jumping over the other condors. But now she roams freely all over the Pinnacles area to the Big Sur area and has 35 siblings, and she's paired with number 700. Her parents are number 20 and number 157. So here's Condor number 825. So pink tag with 25 on it with black lettering. She's part of the Pinnacles flock as well. She hatched on April 17th, 2016 at the World Center for Birds of Prey in Boise, Idaho again. She has 17 siblings and her parents are number 309 and 69. She flew all the way down to Bitterwater immediately after her release instead of staying in Pinnacles like most young condors. So she likes to travel evidently. Now let's meet Condor number 827. That's black lettering on pink. He's part of the Pinnacles flock. He hatched on April 20th, 2016 at the World Center for Birds of Prey in Boise, Idaho. Quickly acclimated to the wild after release, taking flights and roosting high in the trees along with other members of his flock. He has 11 siblings and his parents are number 48 and number 97. There you go. There's number 827. Finding them was a little hard. You just really have to be out there. There's just no substitute for being up there a lot and walking around and looking. I did kind of realize this. I would be in the middle of the high trail and I'm asking the hikers both directions. See anything that direction? See anything that direction? Until I get someone who goes, yeah, there are a bunch of them just down in the corner. And so I would walk down there. So I may have walked 3 miles to get to the top and 3 miles to come back, a little less than that. But I walked back and forth on the top all day trying to follow where the condors are at. All right, let's wrap this up. What have I learned? I've learned one thing that I really enjoy doing this, and I'll do it again. I super loved in doing this. So I'm going to go out, and there's going to be a Condors 2 and a Condors 3 as we go out. The second thing I learned is that I've got to have a backpack with a belt. Got to get that weight off the shoulders. I also threw some things out of my pack after I had hauled them around. It just didn't make any sense. I was carrying 2 and 3 cameras, so I just got down to 1 camera and my film camera, and that was a much better collection to haul up and down the hill. I also learned that it's just a matter of you got to just be out there, spend time. And I think evening and morning obviously are much better times to find them. I had much better luck evening and morning. When they soar during the day, they're so high, it's pretty hard to get to them most of the time. But sometimes they'll come down, kind of do a flyover, get a couple of shots like that. It was pretty interesting. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you met some condors and found that interesting. I think I'm a huge fan of one of the ugliest birds around. So you're going to see more of that bird in the future. So keep those cameras rolling and keep on clicking.